As the soldiers continue firing, Jang Ho seizes an opportunity and grabs hold of a weapon, disarming one of the attackers. With incredible force, he counters with a powerful strike, incapacitating the soldier with a direct blow to the legs. Meanwhile, from a distance, Han Fang watches in disbelief. He mutters to himself, astonished by Jang Ho's sheer strength and agility, realizing this man is far from ordinary. An armored vehicle's engine roars to life, releasing smoke. Jang decides there's no time to waste and orders the team to drive the vehicle upstairs to intercept the situation directly. Meanwhile, Han Fang hides behind a pillar, his hands glowing with a strange, pink energy. Determined to hold his ground, he prepares to unleash his power. Han Fang channels his energy, creating a trap of glowing pink orbs around the vehicle. He declares, "Think you can leave? Not a chance." The trap set by Han Fang activates, and the vehicle's tires sink into the glowing pink energy. The once mobile vehicle is now immobilized. Inside the vehicle, Jang and his companion notice the issue. Jang observes the right side sinking and wonders if the ground has suddenly given way. Peering through the side mirror, Jang contemplates the situation, suspecting that the terrain has been tampered with. Meanwhile, Han Fang hides behind the vehicle, analyzing the results of his trap. He realizes that overusing the purple energy has restricted its area of effect, limiting the trap to one side of the vehicle instead of both wheels. A grenade is tossed from the vehicle, with the driver casually yelling, "Here." Han Fang, still focused on his glowing purple energy, quickly takes notice as the grenade flies through the air towards him. The driver reveals a sinister grin, adjusting his hood as he watches the grenade in motion. As the grenade makes contact with the vehicle's side, an explosion engulfing everything in sight as Han Fang, his body surrounded by flames and debris. Despite the intensity of the impact, Han Fang remains standing. Amid the aftermath, the perspective shifts to a surreal vision. A blade glimmers with a faint blue hue, blood trickling from its edge. Han Fang notices a peculiar sight, a goat staring back at him. Suddenly, the setting transforms. Han Fang finds himself lying on a red field, surrounded by a flock of goats. Relaxed and amused, Han Fang smirks, commenting on how refreshing it feels, enjoying. As Han Fang relaxes in the field surrounded by goats, he feels something wet and cool on his face. At first he laughs, commenting on how refreshing it feels. However, his expression quickly shifts to confusion and shock as he realizes a goat is licking him. Turning to face the source, Han Fang is startled to see a massive goat towering over him. Green energy begins to seep from the coils, leaving Han Fang yelling in alarm as he struggles to break free from the creature's grasp. The goat tightens further around Han Fang, glowing with a sinister green energy. Han's body begins to convulse as the corrosive energy surges through him, causing him to cry out in agony. Han Fang lies motionless on the cold ground, green energy faintly emanating from his body. Slowly, he regains consciousness, his eyes glowing with an eerie green light. He looks around, disoriented but determined, muttering in confusion as he tries to piece together what just happened. Suddenly, a loud noise draws his attention. The military vehicle appears. Inside the vehicle, the man grips the steering wheel tightly. He mutters nervously about the engine's power, relieved that the vehicle is holding up in the dire situation. Suddenly, a red glow flashes in front of him, and a massive, fiery hand appears, smashing against the vehicle. The man freezes in shock as the fiery force begins to tear through the vehicle, the impact shattering the air with a burst of red energy. The man uses his power to manipulate blood against Han Fang, who attempts to retaliate with his gun. As Han Fang fires, man counters by shaping the blood into a defensive form, deflecting the bullet. Overwhelmed, Han Fang resorts to a device, trying to gain the upper hand. However, the device backfires, spiraling out of control under man's influence, and Han Fang reacts with shock as his own weapon turns against him. Surrounded by a circle of manipulated blood, man commands the occupants of a car to exit. As they comply, one individual caught in a panic shields himself while still inside the vehicle. Feeling the intense cold, a wounded man calls out for help, visibly shivering and bleeding. Nearby, another man, upon seeing his brother in distress, urgently yells his name. Fueled by anger, he charges forward wielding a crowbar, shouting a curse at Hanfang. As the confrontation intensifies, Man draws upon his powers, causing a blade to narrowly miss, deflecting it with a surge of his blood abilities. The aftermath sees Hanfang struck by the redirected force, leading to a violent burst of blood. Nearby, Zhang urges another to seek reinforcements, highlighting the desperate situation. The man grunts in pain as they're hit by a powerful blood-based attack, while Hanfang swiftly moves past them. Desperate attempt to stop the advancing opponent, shouts to their allies to run him down with a vehicle. Reacting quickly, he uses his powers to envelop the tank in a massive pink, gelatinous substance. Inside the vehicle, confusion ensues as one occupant notices the car starting to melt from the gelatinous substance, yelling in shock and urging everyone to evacuate immediately. Outside, Hanfang overwhelmed by the engulfing mass, while the man cries out desperately for help. Hanfang's eyes glow pink as he swiftly dodges and bullet attack. Confronting two armed men, the man realizes his weapon is empty. Seizing the moment, Hanfang decides to chase. Caught in the sudden turmoil, panic and start running for safety. Sparks fly under Hanfang's swiftly moving feet. Two soldiers focus on a strategic objective. Emphasizing the importance of securing their team, they move with precision. Zhang Ho observes, a visible question on his face. Zhang Ho swiftly dodges attack nearby. Contemplates the motives of Hanfang. On a grid marked by sparks, suggesting strategic movements. He leaps amidst a surge of purple energy, propelling himself forward with force. Nearby, soldiers trapped in the substance express confusion and alarm, questioning the bizarre circumstances enveloping them. Above, Hanfang grabs his weapons. In a violent explosion, Hanfang powers unleash a devastating burst, scattering debris and opponents. Intense energy emanates from a hand. This energy gathers and propels upwards, encircling and suspending those caught in its wake. The powerful green energy blast. The energy strikes, engulfing the soldier within it in an intense green glow. The aftermath leaves the adversaries enveloped in a vivid green aura. He catches his breath over the subdued forms of two opponents, evident from their heavy breathing. Tension escalates as another man, overwhelmed by the situation, begins to shout in panic. The man mutters, "What the hell?" The man wielding a bat strikes down forcefully. This action leaves the Hanfang defeated, lying prone on the ground. The man mockingly remarks on the consequences of one's actions with a grim satisfaction. This is followed by a violent outburst as the man, consumed by rage, screams for the defeated to be condemned. The man beaten being violently propelled. Zhang Ho observes Hanfang reflecting on the chaos just ensued. Zhang Ho questions if the intense outburst from Hanfang was a loss of control. At deeper issues or powers at play. Zhang Ho swiftly takes down a soldier, effortlessly flipping him to the ground as the metallic clanking of his gear echoes in the air. Meanwhile, Zhang leads the group forces through a secured corridor. Shielded officers move in formation, maintaining a defensive stance as they advance. Inside, Zhang issues a directive, instructing everyone to stay cautious and regroup with the three soldiers. Zhang stares in shock at the lifeless soldier on the ground, struggling to process the situation. The group scans the area, searching for the missing soldier, but there's no sign of him. One of them grimly concludes that he's likely dead too. Reports come in that Jin Kinwoo froze to death, and only a few survivors remain, trapped inside a vehicle. Tension rises as one of the men turns to Zhang for guidance, asking what their next move should be. Zhang, his breath visible in the cold air, clenches his jaw. The soldiers are gone, and worse, they have no idea where the base camp is. With the situation completely out of control, the group decides to retreat. Their mission has failed, and they are ordered to return home. Elsewhere, flames flicker inside a metal bin, burning papers as books are scattered around. Hanfang suddenly jolts awake, screaming about a grenade. His panic fades as he looks around confused. He expected to be dead, but instead, he finds himself covered with a blanket in a dimly lit room. Staring at the fire in front of him, he tries to make sense of where he is and how he survived. Hanfang, still confused, questions what "back to normal" means. He recalls being in the basement, yet now he's somewhere else, completely unharmed. Zhang Ho, unbothered, takes a drag from his cigarette and shrugs. If Hanfang himself doesn't know, How is he supposed to? However, he does have an idea about Zhang Zuyu's plan. Then, with a smirk, he gestures toward a bloodied and terrified man tied up nearby. Holding a knife, still dripping with blood, he casually states that for the details, their new guest can explain everything.
This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video.